Let's now bring in attorney Khumisi Kganare to make sense of the legal standing of former MK leader Jabulani Khumalo and, of course, other legal stories that we are tracking for you this afternoon. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Kganare. So, given that Mr. Khumalo of the MK party, who founded the party, is no longer the leader of the party, does, he have grounds to have his expulsion declared unlawful and invalid as he wants?
Yeah, he would still have grounds, but the question is he exercising his rights in the correct forum? And, it would appear this is an incorrect forum for him to pursue or exercise and enforce his rights. Mainly because, with an electoral court, this has got to be an electoral issue. And it has now become common cause that there is no, any electoral issue to be determined here. In fact, there's also an argument, put on the table by the defense that even the applicant in their papers, accept that this is not an electoral issue. And if it is, it's something that has to be decided, on or before by the 29th of May. So it does have some recourse to pursue, but the forum may be incorrect.
By forum, are you suggesting perhaps that this would be a criminal matter?
As one of the processes, you can also still pursue, something that you would draw some satisfactory conclusion from in another forum, be it just a normal high court, which is not, electoral in nature, based mainly on the relationship that you used to have with the party. That I used to have a relationship with them, and I was, removed unlawfully. Would want to be reinstated and be put in a position I would have been had this unlawful thing that I believe happened did not happen.
Of course, the unlawful thing we're talking about here is the fact that he says the letter that was sent to the IEC was not sent by him. It was, in fact, forged and also not containing his email address. So should that route then follow, where the Electoral Court perhaps suggests that he goes the other route, which is maybe the criminal courts, what then, how likely is that decision to be taken in this next coming days, do you think?
Look, there are issues that need to be determined first and foremost before we even get into the merits. I mean, the parties on the other side of the applicant have already, raised issues that would have to be determined preliminarily, which are, issues of jurisdiction, issues of urgency, locus standi, which it would appear on the papers at least that the applicant is somewhat falling short of arguments you would need to convince court that it has got jurisdiction to hear this matter. And also that, this is not a review application where you would want to review a decision by the IEC, because the IEC did not necessarily make a decision in this regard. They were just effecting changes as instructed by the person who is seen as the contact person or leader of the party in question.
Now, I want you, of course, to talk about this other matter, looking at the Phala Phala issue. The Constitutional Court is set to hear the EFF's application to then challenge Parliament's December 2022 decision to not adopt the Section 89 independent panel report into Phala Phala. And, of course, also saying, not to refer it to the impeachment committee. What are we looking at here in as far as these proceedings are concerned?
Yeah, I mean, we need to remember that, it's the National Assembly's call, really, whether or not a report of this nature, must be adopted. And there's a process that regulates how that whole thing happens, where you would get them to sit down, deliberate on it, and vote at the end of the day. But if there's anyone who believes that was irrational and unlawful, you can still approach court. And what court would be doing here, being the apex court, would be to, get to a conclusion that doesn't necessarily usurp the powers of the National Assembly, but it would be a conclusion that says, yes, we believe this decision was irrational, and we know it was by way of a vote, that it was irrational and unlawful. We believe, at least insofar as the evidence that we have, that the president had a case to answer to. So we would want it to be considered in a way that says, impeachment proceedings must be considered. And even in that instance, I mean, the impeachment committee will investigate, put together, recommendations. If those recommendations are for the president to be removed, that has to go to the National Assembly again, and it goes through the same process where they would have to sit down, discuss it, and vote at the end of the day whether or not the president must be removed.
Interesting. I wonder then what the implications would be in either of these legal processes we've just discussed this information. Firstly, implications on the MK party itself, and secondly, on President Cyril Ramaphosa. But thank you so much, Mr. Kganare, for your time this afternoon and, of course, unpacking all of that for us. Khumisi Kganare is an attorney.